The big game in the Big Apple on San Antonio Sports Leader 1250 ESPN San Antonio. Powered by the Low T Center, Buffalo Wild Wings, and AA Best Bail Bonds.
You've been with ESPN for a long time, Linda Cohn.
21 years.
21
Seen
years.
it all, baby. Joined it in 1992. A lot of people don't know that ESPN started in actually 1979.
79.
Yeah, so I've been around there since 92. But I've seen all the growth, and what a week. I mean, I'm from New York, and you'll hear the accent as we continue to talk, but I love it. I think so far so great. I mean, it's such a great place to have a Super Bowl. I hope it's not I know it's the first time. Hopefully it won't be the last.
So you don't buy into all these critics of, it's too cold. How could you possibly have a Super Bowl?
They're a bunch of babies. They're a bunch of babies, man. Wear a layer or two. I mean, for
now
goodness
that's the
sake.
New Yorker in you coming out right there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, what a joke. I mean, come on, get out of the hotel. There are restaurants to devour and things to see and people to meet. It's a great, great city, and although the Super Bowl will be played in New Jersey, which I reminded my New Jersey people at MetLife Stadium, but it's going to be good. So they're doing a great job all week. The only thing I'm disappointed about is that I really wish that it would snow. I really wish the wind gust would be 25 miles an hour. Roger Goodell wanted the real elements, right? We're not getting it. We're getting mild weather, 40 degrees at kickoff. Come on. That's no fun. No blizzard, no snow for Peyton. Come on.
You've been with the network since 92. What's the coolest thing you've ever done?
So many cool things. Talking to you guys, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Hanging
right.
out in New York and Radio Row. I never thought there'd be a Super Bowl here. Who did? It's great. There's just so many things. I mean, the athletes that I've met, that I've talked to, yeah, that's all good, but people expect that. I don't know. Also kind of paving the way for young women and young men who actually grew up, watching me on SportsCenter, not realizing that a woman just doesn't have to be a sideline reporter. Mm-hmm. She could stand toe-to-toe, show off her love, her passion, emotion for sports that she grew up with. And it's been a part of my vernacular. Even if I wasn't doing this for a living, I would still love my teams so passionately. I'll never give that up.
That's something that you've always dealt with your life. I remember reading about you that you played on a boys hockey team
yeah,
when you were younger.
I played ice hockey, growing up.
It seems like, for women to break into the industry in sports radio, in anything other than on the sideline reporting area, that immediately, because there's just this very masculine view of the sports landscape, that it's first you have to work through the whole lack of credibility thing, which is that to me is the most unbelievable thing, that women have to be so good so that they almost have to be better than most of the guys in it so that they can stand out even more, which is unfair, but it's the truth, isn't it?
No, they really do have to be that way. But you know what? There are a lot of women on the air that are on right now. I won't name names. They shouldn't be on TV. They shouldn't be doing
come on, name names.
No, I don't want to do that. Because I want to be on your show again. And actually I want to be employed.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
So there you have it. But I think we all know, we all have our opinions, because in our business it's all subjective. I mean, there's some guys on TV, some men on TV that you guys could think they shouldn't have the jobs they have. They're clueless, right? So I've always told
you're talking to two of them right now. As a matter of fact,
that's not true. I've always told young women to aim higher. Nothing against sideline reporters, but it's so stereotypical, typecast. Who needs to hear who cares about what the coach has to say at halftime? He never tells me anything at halftime. And by the way, if someone's injured on the field, guess what? That information can be relayed to the booth magically, and the announcers can tell us. Wouldn't that be great? And the human interest stuff, I can read and go online and find out if I really care. So, I always tell young women, because unfortunately women are the ones usually doing the sideline stuff, aim higher. Do your homework, do your prep work. If you really love sports, let's see it. Let's show it. Try to do something else. Just aim higher. And, you're putting yourself in position to get a break. So it's not like, oh, poor women, they have to work harder. Hey, that's what it is right now. It is getting better, so work harder.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was you mentioned it is getting a lot better than it used to be, but when you broke in, it was there weren't many.
No.
And what was it like at ESPN with that male-dominated culture?
Well, it's the thing, I always have to, even not only at ESPN, if it would be any network or anywhere I go, I'd have to prove constantly that I know what I was talking about. So, wherever I was, whether I was at a drinking establishment or at a restaurant or at a college or whatever. You had to you just had to show off your knowledge all the time. But it's so good. It came with the territory. None of that ever bothered me. It really didn't, because I knew what I was talking about, and I knew I had opinions. And I knew I loved sports because it came from the heart. It was real. It's not like I used sports as a stepping stone to be on Access Hollywood or Entertainment Tonight. I wanted to be in sports. That's why I've been in sports most of my career. I started out in news, but only for a short time because I volunteered to cover New York Islander hockey games, and I hated the New York Islanders. I'm a longtime Ranger fan. That's the kind of sacrifices I had to go through early on. I mean, can you imagine going again, covering your arch rival? You'd be like, oh God. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff. So I always am a believer of making your own breaks. Putting yourself in position to be successful, and if you can do something that you love, which I have been doing. It's great. Does everything go as planned? No. Have I gotten every opportunity I wanted? Not even close. This is why I love this podcast, because this is something I wanted to prove to ESPN and others, that gave me a stage that I can show off stuff that I can't show off on Sports.
Opinions and that sort of thing?
Opinions and fun and sarcasm and the New York accent and the silliness and stuff you won't see from athletes when I interview them, and making them laugh and making them share things they'd never share. But not stuff you can see on TV on SportsCenter. You just see that, I would bring out in them because they feel so comfort. They feel a connection.
Linda Cohn, ESPN, joining us right here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio. You mentioned your podcast. You had Jerry Seinfeld. You kidnapped Jerry Seinfeld today. He was on Mike and Mike.
He was on Mike and Mike, and I've been doing for the podcast, listen closely to Linda Cohn, and Red's Apple Ale has got me there to do this all week at the Super Bowl. And I hang out at Mike and Mike's set. I've already gone behind the scenes at Mike and Mike. Anyone who goes to ESPNradio.com, you can find these vignettes. Just click and you can see what I'm doing. And so Jerry Seinfeld was one of the guests today on Mike and Mike. And, Greenie, Jerry Seinfeld, he has a total male crush on this guy. He's in love with Jerry.
Who doesn't?
Because he thinks Jerry is him. To hear Greenie explain it, it's like when Seinfeld was a hit TV show, Greenie, too, was single and living in Manhattan and a germaphobe. And that's
where it ends.
That's right, and that's it. But so it was fun to see that interaction. But I kidnapped Jerry for 5 minutes. By question number 4, I think Jerry has had enough of me. And he's like, Linda, I think I better talk to these guys. Mike and Mike. I'm like, oh, gosh. All right, I don't want to get Jerry Seinfeld upset. No problem, Jerry. Thanks for the time for listening closely. So that was fun. But those are the kind of things that, you see. Yeah, because he has this cool show Jerry does. It's like comedians in cars with coffee.
It's hilarious.
So we talked about,
like anything Jerry Seinfeld does.
So I said, why don't you have athletes in cars? He goes, no, because no, I'm not going to have athletes. I go, why not? He goes, because they're not funny. So that's kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff, you just, me and Jerry going at it. And Jerry and I are both Met fans, but we couldn't get into the New York Mets for good reason.
Linda Cohn, ESPN SportsCenter anchor, radio host, and listen closely to Linda Cohn, the podcast. Thanks very much for the time today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have fun this week.
Yes.
Get out of the hotel, will you please?
Oh, yeah, we have already,
Okay,
and we'll
good.
continue.
Okay.